Hello, welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and another Rev review, or in this case, an unboxing with a review later. Today we're going to talk about Rotor, and we're going to talk about the Aldhu 24. But before we go into the specs and some of that stuff, if you would please subscribe to the channel. We're at 499 subscribers, so I think that's pretty awesome. I've taken the channel, with your help of course, from 180 subscribers that I had about cumulative for about 3 years, and in the last 6 months or so, more than doubled and working on tripling. So I'm very excited about that. So please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when I've posted another video. Okay, so this power meter came in because one of my customers, and actually someone who came to one of my rides, had a bike fit. She's I think she's 5 foot, not exactly sure how tall she is, but her bike fitter recommended that she get a 155 millimeter crank arm. Now these are fairly hard to find, especially with this pandemic. Today is September 3rd of 2021. We still have a huge bike shortage and parts shortage. But Rotor, which is a company out of Spain, had a 155 millimeter crank arm, and most importantly, had a power meter spider. So you get left and right power metering. And they had it in stock. So I ordered it, and it's here today. I think I ordered it Tuesday, and it's here on Friday. They ship out of Salt Lake City, and I'm in San Diego area. Okay, so the key for this setup is the fact that she needed 155 millimeter crank arms. So that was one of the things that was a deal breaker. Had to have 155 crank arms. Now there has been a movement to shorten crank arms, and I think some fitters get a little crazy with it, but she is fairly short. And the theory behind that is that it opens up the hip angle a little bit more, and especially if you have a long torso and short legs, your aero position on a time trial bike is compromised because you have short legs, long torso, and the other way would be better. Long legs, short torso, then you could drop your handlebars lower and get into a more aero position. So if you can raise your saddle because you have a shorter crank arm, well, there you go. Now this is a power meter, so we have the spider. Okay, so we have the 155 crank arms, we have the power meter spider, and if you haven't already noticed, well, this is some assembly required. So here's the axle, okay, and then you choose the chain rings. So this particular customer, we chose a compact setup, so a 50 tooth big ring and a 34 tooth inner ring. And so that's the chain ring there, and the 34 chain ring here. Okay, so you have a very modular type of setup. And with a lot of these things, it's hard to quote a weight for them. And as I've mentioned many times on my channel, don't be a weight weenie. It's not that important. Obviously, you don't want something like, let's say, a crankset to weigh 7 pounds, 10 pounds. But honestly, the most important thing is that something, especially when it comes to power meters, is that they are reliable and that they are consistent. So let's just say, you have a 1 or a 2 or a 3% accuracy rate on your power meter. 3 is on the very high end. But let's just say 2%, 1.5%. As long as it's always reading reliably and consistently the same, does it really matter that it's 1.5% instead of 2% accurate? I'm sorry, 2% or 1.5% or 1% accurate? It doesn't matter really. So I think what's important is something that is reliable and it consistently gives you the same type of readings so that you can train effectively with it. And I think on my channel I've talked more than enough times about how important it is to have a power meter now that pricing is so affordable. Okay, we're going to unpackage a few more things here just so that for those that do care about weights, we'll do a quick scale thing because I have it right here. So remember that the primary reason we chose this power meter was, or this crank setup and this power meter, is because the ability to have power with 155 crank arms. That was the most important part. So I can't see from here, but I'm guessing about 600 grams with, oh, I'm sorry, we need to put the axle in there too. So now we've got the axle in there, and I think we're 740. So there it is, power meter with 155 crank arms from Rotor. This is more of an unboxing. You can see the modular nature of it, and it will allow for someone to choose the crank arms separately from the chain rings separately from the power meter, and so on and so forth. So this is a very, very cool system, and Rotor has been making crank sets for a very long time, and typically you will find these as OE, original equipment, already installed on bikes that come from a factory. I remember I was carrying a couple of lines that they came with these crank sets, and it's a great company, makes great specific stuff, and you may also be more familiar with them because they are popular for their Q rings. So these are round chain rings, but they make an ovalized chain ring as well. So this is a more conventional setup with the round chain rings, but what they do, and you can see here with their markings along here, so you can easily rotate this based on what degree of angle you want on your ovalized chain rings. So you can spec this in any position that you want where you feel more powerful and more efficient on your bike with the ovalized chain rings. On the round chain rings, you just set it up as normal. But that's one of the very, very nice features about the Rotor power meter system, or Spider I should say, and their axle. Okay, well that's all for today. I do appreciate your time and your attention. If you would please subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends, and hit that notification bell. In the meantime, we'll see you up the road.